Sachas Bava Kamma Daf Chavav continues the Gemara's discussion of the halachos of Shein, Karen, and Regel when there are Chayiv and Patur Rishos Harabim and Rishos Hayachid. So we've seen a series of Kavachimers. The Gemara is now going to bring another set of 3 Kavachimers about Shein and Regel, and then 2 more Kavachimers about Shar and Adam. Then we'll get into the sugya of Shein and Regel as it applies to killing a person. We'll have one Mishnah which introduces the topic of Adam Hamazik in general, and the Gemara's discussion of that. So let's begin. The Gemara wants to say that we'll have now 3 Kavachimers about the halachos of Shein and Karen in Rishos Harabim and Rishos Yachid. So the Gemara's first thing is to say that based on the Kavachimer, we should say that Shein v'Regel should be chayiv in Rishos Harabim. The halachos that Shein v'Regel is patur in Rishos Harabim. Says the Gemara, let's say that Shein v'Regel is chayiv in Rishos Harabim from a Kavachimer. Where do you see that? Because Karen, if you use Karen to compare Rishos HaNizik to Rishos Harabim. So Karen in Rishos HaNizik is chayiv only chati nezik, and in Rishos Harabim it is chayiv. So if that's true, so then Shein v'Regel, which is more chomer in Rishos HaNizik than Karen is, because in Rishos HaNizik it pays nezik shalim, certainly it should be chayiv in Rishos Harabim. Why should it be patur in Rishos Harabim? So that, the Gemara answer is, that's a nice kavachim, but we have an explicit pasuk that tells me otherwise. It says, ubir b'stei acher, Shein and Regel is only chayiv in stei acher, only in someone else's field, only in Rishos HaNizik, not a place where the mazik has Rishos to be, not in Rishos Harabim. So the Gemara says, no. I wasn't saying that you should be chayiv nezek sholem in Rishos Harabim. That pasuk teaches me that you're only chayiv nezek sholem. That pasuk is talking about the nezek sholem payment. That can only be in Rishos HaNizik. That I agree. I'm asking you should have at least a payment of Karen. Just like you learned that there's a payment of Karen of Chatzi Nezek, that payment should apply in Rishos Harabim, and it should pay a Chatzi Nezek payment in Rishos Harabim at least. So Gemara says, no, that can't be either, because that Karen payment of Chatzi Nezek is limited only to Karen. It says, V'chatzu is Kaspai, you divide its value, Kaspai, its value only the Karen's Mazik, you divide its value, you pay Chatzi Nezek, the Chatzi Nezek payment of Karen does not apply anywhere else, it doesn't apply by Rishos, by Shein and Regel. Okay, now in the same cases, using the same halachos, the Gemara has another kavach. The Gemara wants to say Shein v'Regel should be chayiv only chati nezek in Rishos HaNizik. How so? So you should make a kavach. Look at Karen in Rishos Harabim, it's chayiv, and in Rishos HaNizik, it's only chayiv chati nezek. So Shein v'Regel, which in Rishos Harabim is patur, so it's weaker than Karen. So in Rishos HaNizik should also only pay chati nezek. How could it be stronger than Karen? How could it pay nezek shalim? So the Gemara answers them because it says yishalim. It says meitav zdei umeitav karma yishalim when it's talking about the Rishos. When it's talking about the Shein v'Regel in Rishos HaNizik, and therefore you see that it's the highest level payment. It's a nezek shalim. It's not a partial payment. Now, the Gemara's third kavachimer is to say that Karen in Rishos Harabim should be patur. Shouldn't have to pay anything for a Karen in Rishos Harabim. Where do you see that? So let's look at Shein v'Regel. Shein v'Regel in Rishos HaNizik pays nezek shalim. In Rishos Harabim, it's patur, doesn't pay anything. So Karen, which in Rishos HaNizik pays less, it only pays chati nezek, should certainly patur, and should certainly be patur in Rishos Harabim. Says Rabbi Yochanan, no, because the Torah says Yechetzun is an extra word, Yechetzun, discussing Karen, which is to teach me that Chati Nezek applies everywhere. You don't split that halacha. Okay, that concludes the Gemara's Kavachimers from Shein and Regel and Karen. Now the Gemara compares Adam and Shar as far as the halachas of Kaifer and the Daled Dvarim. The halacha is that a cow that kills someone pays Kaifer, and a person who's mazik someone pays 4 things besides for Nezek. It's also Tzari, Poshevis, and Bajas. But an animal doesn't need to pay that. And the Gemara questions both of those halachas. So first of all, the Gemara says a person should have to pay Kaifer if he kills someone. Rashi explains a case where he kills and he can't get Misa, like it was no Hasra, or it was B'Shegeg, and for some reason he can't get the Einish that's prescribed normally. So he should be chayiv kaifer through a kavachimer. How so? So look at Shar. Shar is not chayiv to pay the Daled Dvarim, but it's chayiv to pay kaifer. So you see that kaifer is stricter, is stronger than the Daled Dvarim. So a person who is chayiv to pay the Daled Dvarim should certainly be chayiv to pay kaifer. So my answer is no. It says kachal sheyushas alav. The pasuk of kaifer says alav only on the animal, not on an adam. The kaifer doesn't apply to an adam. Next thing the Gemara wants to learn from Sharon Adam is that a shor should be chayiv in the arba dvarim. You know, the shor is not chayiv in the daled dvarim. So Gemara says, why not? I should have a kav chamer as well. A person does not pay kaifer, but he pays daled dvarim. So you see, daled dvarim from is stronger than kaifer in the case of a person. So a shor which is chayiv kaifer should certainly be chayiv daled dvarim. And I think Gemara answers no. It says ishba misai, and only a person by misai pays the daled dvarim. Veloi shor by misai, it does not. You don't have a shor that pays the daled dvarim. The Gemara has a shaila. The halacha of kaifer that applies to a shor generally is a shor that does keren as a muad. That's the classic halacha. He's a muad, so he's paying as a shalim. He's keren, he's kavanasei lahazik, and he kills somebody. That's where you pay kaifer for killing the person. Now, the Gemara says, is that because he's paying as a shalim, because he's assumed to be a mazik? That's where the din of kaifer is from? Or is it because it's kavanah hazik? What's an afkamina? So the Gemara says, what would be the halacha if a shar kills a person with regel? So let's say a shar steps on a baby and he kills the baby. So this is regel. It's not keren. It's not kavanah hazik. So would you say that since he's a muad, he should be like keren muad, right? Since regel is muad, so he should be like keren muad and he should pay kaifer? Or do you say no? The kaifer is only in the case of kavanah hazik. Here, there's no kavanah hazik. Now, the Gemara says, okay, let's bring a proof. And relevant to this proof, we have to know that there is an opinion that holds that there is chatzi kaifer for a short tam. That's the opinion of Rabbi Yossi Haglili. There's also, as we saw previously in this Masechta, there's also the opinion of Rabbi Tarfon, who holds that a shor pays nezek shalim in Rishus HaNizik. So, the Brisa discusses a case where somebody brought an animal into Rishus HaNizik without permission, and it gores the babais, it attacks the nizik, and he dies. So the halacha is that the shor gets skila, of course, and the owner, whether it's a tam or it's a muad, pays kaifer shalim. So this brisa is saying, and this is Rabbi Tarfon, and it's saying that there's kaifer shalim for a shor tam and a shus nizik, meaning just like Rabbi Tarfon holds that nezek of a tam is nezek shalim in a shus nizik, there is kaifer in a shus nizik. Now, where would he get that halacha from? Where would he get kaifer shalim for a shar tam if it's Rishus HaNizik? So the Gemara says he must be holding like Rabbi Yossi Haglili, who holds that there's chatzi kaifer for a regular shar tam when it's not Rishus HaNizik, and he's learning a kal v'chomer. He's learning a kal v'chomer from where? It must be from shein v'regel. Where else could he learn it from? The kal v'chomer must run as follows. It must say regel in Rishus Harabim is putter, and in Rishus HaNizik pays nezek shalim. So you see, Rishus HaNizik is stronger. It's nezek shalim. So keren, which in Rishus Harabim pays chatzi kaifer, according to Rabbi Yossi Haglili, at least pays chatzi kaifer. Then in Rishus HaNizik, it must pay kaifer shalim. That is the only possible explanation we have for where Rabbi Tarfon we get this halacha. But based on this, you see that there is a halacha of kaifer for shein v'regel. Otherwise, how are we bringing anything here? So the Gemara says no. The kal v'chomer is not coming from shein v'regel's kaifer. Kal v'chomer is coming from shein v'regel's nizikin. It's showing that Rishus HaNizik is stronger than Rishus Harabim because in nizikin shein v'regel pays. And in Nezikin, shein v'regel pays in Rishus HaNizik and not Rishus Harabim. So you see Rishus HaNizik is stronger. So therefore, we continue and we say that a shar tam, which according to Rabbi Yossi Haglili pays chatzi kaifer in Rishus Harabim, should pay kaifer shalim in Rishus HaNizik. Says the Gemara, no, the kal v'chomer can't be from the Nezikin of shein and regel. There's a pircha on that. It can only be from kaifer of shein and regel. What's the pircha? So the Gemara goes through a few options here for the pircha. First of all, shein v'regel in Rishus HaNizik. So in Rishus HaNizik, there's a chiv of eish. If you're talking about nizikin in Rishus HaNizik, eish is chayav for that. Kaifer doesn't apply to eish. So therefore, that's why you have the strength of the chiv of shein v'regel in Rishus HaNizik, as opposed to you won't have kaifer in Rishus HaNizik, because kaifer doesn't apply to eish. So Mara says, okay, so we're talking about taman. We're talking about something which is hidden where there is no chiv of eish. So Mara says, okay, if it's talking about taman, I have another pircha, and that's the bar. That Talmud applies in the bar. The mazik of bar exists there, but it doesn't exist. There's no kaifer on a bar. Somewhere says no, bar is different because bar is not chayv in kalim. So we're bringing from kalim. So Gemara says kalim. Okay, so kalim you have eish. So we're talking about kalim tmunim, which is patur in both eish and bar. That's where I'm bringing from, and there you have shein v'regel. It's chayv v'neshus ha nizik, and that's where I have my kavach chaymer to chayfer. So Gemara says no, I still have a pircha, and that's that a person's chayv on them, and he's not chayv. Kaifer. So therefore, the Gemara rejects this kavach chaymer. The Gemara says the kavach chaymer has to be from kaifer to kaifer, can't be from nezikin because of the pircha of adam, and therefore it's got to be from kaifer of shein v'regel, and you have a proof therefore that there is kaifer by shein v'regel. So this Gemara is logical. It has to be this way because I'll bring you another reason why the kavach chaymer couldn't be from nezikin, because if the hanacha we're trying to work with here is to prove that there is kaifer by shein v'regel. If there be no kaifer by shein v'regel, so then when we're trying to make a kavach chaymer from nezikin of shein v'regel to kaifer, I could say that nezikin is different because it applies to shein v'regel. Kaifer doesn't apply to shein v'regel. I would have that pircha. So therefore that wouldn't work. The only way this entire thing works is if there is kaifer and shein v'regel anyway, which is what we're trying to prove. Now we get the next mishnah, which is custom mazik of adam. Adam, of course, has the special halacha that there are 5 types of payments for besides for nezikin, nezik, tzari, b'sheves, and voishes. So the Mishnah begins and it says a person is always muad. A person always has to be on guard. He's responsible for whatever he does, whether it's a shegeg, whether it's a mazid, he's responsible. Whether he was awake, whether he was asleep at the time he did the damage, he's responsible for whatever he does. And the Mishnah brings 2 cases. It says if he blinds someone's eye, or if he breaks a kli, he pays nezik shalim because he's muad la'ilm. So now the Gemara discusses the halacha of a shegeg. We had here mentioned the shegeg, and we also put together blinding someone's eye as well as breaking a kli. Now, just like breaking a kli, there's no dalid dvarim, because dalid dvarim only applies to injuring a person. So, too, if you put out someone's eye b'shegeg, there's no dalid dvarim. So, Gemara here means to say there's no dalid dvarim by a shegeg. However, a shegeg does pay for nezek, pays for the damages that it causes by injuring a person, the devaluation of a person. Says Gemara, what's the makar for that? How do you know that there is damages paying by shegeg? So, Gemara quotes Tanan Bechizkiah, says from the pasuk, it says patza tachas patza, you pay a wound for a wound. That's even in a case, it's an extra phrase, even in a case of a shegeg, that's to be maribet, that a shegeg pays like a mazid, and an einus pays like a ratzon. Someone says, no, that's for something else. That's to teach me the halacha of tsar. Now, tsar, the Torah says, straight out, you pay for tsar. However, you may think that's only in a case where there's no nezek, where you cause someone pain, but you don't injure him and devalue him. However, if there is nezek also, maybe you only pay the nezek and not the tsar. How do you pay both of them together? That's what we have, patzatachas patza. So how could you use that pasuk to teach me einus and shegeg? So my answers is still an extra phrase. There's 2 drushes here. It could have said petza b'patza. What's the tachas for? That's for the second halacha. The Gemara now goes deeper into the halachas of a shegeg, an action that we do b'shegeg. The Gemara will discuss 2 cases, and each case has many halachas that could come from it. So the common factors in the case is that a person sat and he had a stone in his lap and he stood up and it fell. So in the first case, he didn't even know it was there. He stood up, he had 0 knowledge of the fact that it was there. He had 0 knowledge that it was falling. There's no machshav involved. In the second case, he knew it was there, he just forgot. So that's more of a shegeg. So what are the halachas? There's a number of halachas that could come out of a person dropping a rock. So Rabbah says, the first thing is if he stood up and it fell and it hurt somebody. So as far as nezikin is chayev, a person's chayev for nezek b'shegeg. As far as the daled dvarim, he's potter. Like we said, you're not chayev for daled dvarim b'shegeg. Now, what if this caused a malacha on Shabbos? So the Torah only asks malachas machshavas, where you know what you're doing. Here, he didn't know what he was doing at all. It's not even a shegeg. He wasn't even aware the stone was there. So that's potter. There's no iser. Now, if it killed somebody b'shegeg, so does he have to go to Gullus? So here the halach is no, since he never knew it was there, it's not called a shegeg. It's like similar to Shabbos, it's like Mesasek, and that's not chayev Gullus at all. Now, what if it fell on a person's eved and put out his tooth or his eye? The halacha is that an eved who has his tooth or eye knocked out by his master gets to go free. So in this case, he knocked it out b'shegeg. So where it says that is a machlekes between Shmuel Gamliel and Rabbanan, which we have in a brisa, whether putting out an eved's tooth or eye b'shegeg makes him go free. The brisa discusses a case where the master was a roifi, was a doctor, and he was putting medication in the eved's eye, or he was filling a cavity in his tooth, and he knocked out the eye by mistake, or he knocked out the tooth. So according to the Rabban and the Avid could laugh at his master and go free. He was trying to be helped by the master. He wasn't really trying to hurt him, but he did, and therefore he's set free. According to Shimon ben Gamliel, however, it has to be bikavona to hurt the guy. It has to be v'shichasa. It says that he should be miskavein l'shachsa to knock it out, and therefore in that case he would not go free as a mechayekes Rabbanan and Shimon ben Gamliel. Now the Gemara speaks about what happens if the person had the stone in his lap, he knew it was there, then he forgot and he stood up and it fell, and all these things happened. So here it's much more of a shagi because he forgot that this was going to happen, but he did have knowledge of it at some point. So here Rabbi says the only real difference in halacha is for the golus case. So if he hurt someone for the nizikin, he's chayiv nizikin b'shegig. For the dal dvarim, he's potter. It's also b'shegig. As far as Hilchos Shabbos, it's still misasek. He still didn't know that when he stood up, he did not have malachas machshavas to do that, so he's still potter for that. For golus, though, he's chayiv because the Torah says b'shgaga. That's any situation where he knew about it and then he forgot, counts as a shgaga. As far as Leinian Eved, the same machlokes of Shimon Gamliel and the Rabbanan would apply about putting out a tooth or an eye b'shegig. Now, another case of kavana is where he intended to throw 2 stones, but he accidentally threw 4 stones. So here he had kavana for the maisa, just not for so many. So this changes the halacha in one case. So the Gemara says over here it would be nizikin. Of course, he would be chayiv, just like for a shegig, for the dal dvarim mispater, just like a shegig. Shabbos, it's still not malachas machshavas. They still didn't intend to throw those other rocks. As far as the golus here, the Torah says that it doesn't need to go to golus. So this, you have a drasha specifically excluding this case. The pasuk says ashaloi tzada, that excludes a case where he intended to throw 2 and he threw 4. As far as for an eved, the same machlokes Shimon Gamliel and the Rabbanan would apply. Next, the Gemara discusses where he intended to throw 4 things and instead he threw 8. Sounds like the same case, but there is a slight difference in Hilchos Shabbos. So again, the Gemara spells out all the cases. If he intended to throw 4 and he threw 8, as far as Zikin, he's chayiv, shegeg. 4 as the 4 things, he's potter. And in Shabbos, it makes a difference because if he's throwing 4, and it sounds like he has in mind that wherever it goes, it goes. He doesn't care where, what, how many. So therefore, if he threw 8, so he had that in mind as well. If that's what he had in mind, then he's chayiv for it. Then it is called malachas machshavas. If he wanted this one specifically, then it's not malachas machshavas and be potter for it. As far as the golus, it still qualifies for the gzeira of ashalei tzada to exclude this. And as far as the evet, again, same machlekes Shimon Gamliel and the Rabbanan. On the subject of halachas brought by Rabbah, the Gemara brings a few more halachos of Rabbah. One is a case we've seen earlier in this parak. Rabbah says if somebody threw kli off the roof and as was flying, someone else came with a stick and broke it. The one who broke it is putter because it's already considered to be broken. Once it's flying in a trajectory towards the ground, towards the smash, it's already considered broken. The fact that he broke it didn't change anything. Rabbah's next case is very similar. He threw a kli off the roof and it was headed towards some cushions on the floor and it would be safe, and someone came and pulled the cushions away and caused it to smash. So both are putter. One who threw it can't be responsible because it would have landed on the cushions, and the one who pulled the cushions away can't be responsible because he didn't throw it. If the person himself came and pulled the cushions away, he's still putter because his first action didn't have any responsibility, and the second one is still called a grama, still called just causing a different action to cause it to happen. The Rabbah's expression is at the time that he threw it, something was blocking his arrows, meaning something was blocking any damage from happening because of what he did. Now, Rabbah's next case, if somebody throws a child off the roof and someone else comes and kills it with a sword as it's flying, so this is dependent on the machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and Sarah and the Rabbanan, as if someone causes a person to die faster, is that small time that he cut off his life, is he chayiv as a murderer for that? The case of there is if 10 people were hitting someone, if each with their own stick, so according to the Bava Kamma, whether they all hit at the same time or they hit one after the other, they're all putter because each one didn't do a complete misa. According to Yehuda if in the case where there were one after the other, the last one is chayav because he caused them to die faster, and that itself is a murder.